Good evening, setmates. Welcome to Shadows by the Firelight. Bit of a technical issue here and there that made me start a bit later. Sorry about that. Alicia. Here we go. Sorry about that as well. A couple of things I would like to chat about before we move on to playing the still very excellent Shadows of New York. A couple of announcements, essentially things that are coming out that I would like to bring to your attention because they're products that I think are very cool, very interesting, and if you think so as well, well, nice. I'm happy to bring things to your attention. If not, well, it's just 5 minutes, so please bear with me. The first thing I want to chat about briefly is, of course, Heart of the Forest. It's the Werewolf the Apocalypse game that we have played a couple of times before, but that was the demo, essentially. A short 30 minutes demo that we have played for about 5 hours. The interesting thing is that the full game is coming very soon. If you haven't seen it, the announcements, I mean, it's coming out on the 13th of October, so that is less than 10 days away. That's next week, I guess. No, not quite next week, but very soon. Very, very soon. It's coming out, and we will absolutely be playing that. If we're not done with Vampire by the time that Heart of the Forest comes out, we'll probably shelve Vampire for a couple of weeks and come back to it after. Mainly because, of course, the main interest in this channel is Werewolf the Apocalypse. It's named after Werewolf the Apocalypse. For those who don't know, Shadows by Firelight is the name of a gift, which is a supernatural power that werewolves can have. So yeah, since we love Werewolf here, it's going to be prioritized over Vampire. So hopefully we can finish. We have 1 or 2 other episodes of Vampire before Heart of the Forest comes out, so hopefully we can make it through. So I'm not going to talk very long today. I will try to focus on Vamp to give us a chance. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is a project that went live yesterday. I don't know a lot about it, unfortunately, because while I wanted to go to the premiere yesterday, I couldn't. A couple of projects that I will absolutely be telling you about as soon as I can and as soon as my NDAs allow me to, has taken more time than I expected this week, which made it so that I couldn't attend the premiere yesterday. But a new game came out, a tabletop role-playing game, not a video game, called Into the Motherland yesterday. Came out might not be the correct term, in the sense that the books don't exist yet and you can't really buy the books yet, but they started streaming for the first time yesterday. The link to the stream I will post right now. Here we go, that should Into the Motherland. That is now in the chat right now. If you want to go on their Twitch channel, they stream every Sundays, starting yesterday and for the next 12 weeks. Yesterday was session 0, so if you missed that, it's not too bad. Also, their VODs, their videos on demand, are completely free, so you can absolutely watch that. Just click on their videos. You'll see the link for yesterday's video. It's completely free, so you can still catch up very easily. Their first episode was 3 hours long. I watched about an hour of it today here and there while I could get away with it. The gist of it essentially is it's a sci-fi game, and the two main interests essentially is that it's a game that came from the very heart of the Black community. So it's inspired by their history, and that in itself to me is very compelling. It's very original. The feel is different. The way they're coming into it is different. The way they approach the system is very different. I've seen them describe the system in the hour that I was able to watch. It's less stats, more feel, right there. It's already very different and very fresh, I would say. Looking forward very, very much to see it into place. So next Sunday, if you have nothing to do, feel free to follow the link I just sent, and let's all have a good time. Yeah, so let us begin with Vampire. Let me just check the chat here. Oh, hello, Nomad. Hi. Nomad says, hello, Yodan. Hi, thank you for being here this week again. As every week, I'm very happy to see you there. I hope I can entertain you this week as well. So, Vampire. Last week, a heck of a lot happened. We streamed, I think, for at least 3 hours, and we did so many things. As a quick recap, if I recall correctly, that was last week. We were assigned to investigate the murder of one of the Anarch Barons. Somehow that ended up on our lap. It was an obvious machination from the Ventru primogen, who, despite being completely obvious about it, pretty much completely owned the scene. Like, no one could stop it. It was gonna happen. It was his plan all along. Everyone could see happening, but everyone were trapped into agreeing to everything he said. It was very well written. Hello, Stanel. Nice to see you as well. So after that, we started the investigation, and a bunch of weird things started happening. Everywhere we went, there were some ghostly apparitions that were trying to nudge us here and there, trying to give us a couple of hints. One of these hints we got was a list with 4 names on it, which happens to be the 4... Okay, quick. Going into the previous game, Coteries of New York. It's called Coteries of New York for a reason. The whole point of Coteries of New York is that you are this one character, and you need to build your own coteries. And you have 4 potential characters that can join your coteries. And the 4 names on the list we found last week are the exact same 4 characters that were potential coterie members in Coteries of New York. So that's already right there, very interesting. We've investigated one of these names. It looks like the game is going to get us through them one by one in a somewhat linear fashion. So we have investigated the Tremere character, who is the assistant of the local High Regent, Aisling Sterling. Eis something Sterling. I know her last name is Sterling. And while we were in the Chantry, while she was distracted talking to the sheriff, we got our hands on a book. And by putting our own vitae on the book, we were able to look into weird memory flashback scenes triggered by keywords that we would say, or probably write in the book. I don't properly remember. But we were essentially treated to a bunch of very vague, very confusing information that hinted, essentially, that the same Ventru character that got us into this might have been involved, shocking surprise, in the murder of said Anarch Baron. So when the game ended last night, last night in game, but a week ago for us, we actually confronted the primogen about this, and it did not go our way. So here we are this week, ready to start the next day and figure out what we're going to do. In the chat, Stanil is helping me remember, confirming that we were indeed writing words in blood in the book to get it to trigger. Oh, right. We also went to see the Banu Akim primogen, the clan which used to be called the Assamites. And that's one of the main reasons why we stayed very late, because we thought she was cool and we just wanted to see what the storyline with her was all about. So we went anyway, even though it was getting late. I don't remember much of it though. I'll let the chat help me if I'm missing any details, but I think the gist of it was mostly she gave us an opportunity to prove ourselves, do something nice for the local Camarilla, and it turned out to be basically to scare a guy a little bit, who pissed off a local Camarilla person. I don't really remember who or how he pissed off. I think we, if I remember correctly, we don't actually know what he did. But we scared him off a tad. I was the owner of a restaurant, and that was that, actually. A bit disappointing in the sense that we didn't really get to see the primogen in question or deepen our bond. But mostly I say disappointing in the sense that the character we're playing, Julia, was disappointed by the scene. She said as much. She eventually said that she should have expected that, but she was hoping to actually get to know the Benjamin King a bit more and deepen the bond. Just like us. As players, we wanted that as well, and we didn't get that, which is fine. The scene was interesting. I liked it. But it wasn't what we were going in for, essentially. So the next day, we are presented with two options. We have here one choice that says hide and seek for dummies. I'm being tailed. The last thing I need right now is a weirdo stalker following my every step. Did I take this investigation too far down the rabbit hole? Or, that's my table. There's no place like home, and I need a little peace. Big Beat Burger, here I come. But wait, who is this loon? Okay, seems like they're ramping up the danger and the weird characters. She's familiar, but I don't remember exactly who she is, but she's familiar somehow. Maybe chat will remember who she is if we've seen her before, but he's not familiar. So honestly, those are two equally valid and interesting options in my sense, so I'm going to leave it to the chat. Are we going hide and seek, or that's my table? What do you all think? She's obviously a vampire, or she thinks she's one because she's got a bunch of blood on her lips. So we have one vote from Nomad for that's my table. All right. Perfect. Gonna give a few more seconds before I go with that options, but I'm probably going to go that way. Unless in the next few seconds we have an overwhelming choice. My table, mine! Stanel says, pretty much confirming the choice, considering they're pretty much the only ones in chat. That's how it's going to be. So we're going to Big Beat Burger. Once again, I find myself at the entrance to my sanctuary. Current vibe, not exactly an embodiment of joie de vivre, but unburdened by my usual self-loathing. Well, that's good for Julia. All in all, a pretty decent frame of mind. Beware, Big Beat Burger. Something wicked this way cometh. And poof. Just like that, my mood is ruined. All it took was a single step through the door. Frenetic woman. Wow, she's walking just like that, poof, in the streets of New York. Okay. She's not grabbing attention at all. Some swivel-eyed loon took my seat. Her legs are crossed over the table, dirty shoes staining my chipboard altar. Oh, come on. Her clothing style is obviously meant to look eccentric and patchwork, but comes off as tragically derelict. There's nothing coincidental in her table choice, and it's not just because there's plenty of free spots tonight. She ogles me with those beady little eyes, daring me to come and try her. Nomad says, maybe not blood or Malkav. Absolutely true. I know she was in Coteries. I just can't remember who she is. She definitely gave off a strong Malkavian vibe in the original game, but I think if I remember correctly, she turned out to be City Gangrel or something like that. I don't remember too well, so I will let the game tell us. I give the guy at the till, Benny, I think his name was, a quick glance. No response. Unsurprising, he's a veteran. He knows better than to get involved. Is this supposed to be a message? Long shot, but a reminder of the Camarilla's watchful eye, maybe? Everything about this lady, her hairstyle, her mannerisms, lipstick smeared nowhere near her actual lips, screams lunatic. Oh, it's lipstick. Nomad, I think you called it. It's not blood, it's lipstick. I'm not the type that fights tooth and nail to get the other bats out of her cave. But I'm not just going to back down for no good reason either. Quietly take a seat right in front of her and wait. Yeah, you crazy-haired weirdo hag, I can be patient too. We spent the night... Excellent. We spent the next 5 minutes in silence. She just sits there and glares at me without blinking once. Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, good call. Good call, Nomad. Frenetic woman. Another few minutes go by, dragging on indefinitely. She's chewing some red bubblegum with a wide-eyed grin that makes Jack Nicholson's trademark smirk look like Mr. Rogers' beaming smile. Wow. Not gonna lie, chew. That munching is getting on my nerves. So we can either keep her cool, engage in a staring contest, or tell her to get lost. I mean, honestly, I'm at a loss, chat. What do y'all think? I'm leaning towards engaging in a staring contest because she's definitely still giving strong Malkav vibes, and I have to say, trying to out-weird a Malkavian sounds extremely interesting to me right now. But I'm not sure how to play this. She could be dangerous, she might not be. I've no idea. So Nomad seems to be interested in a staring contest as well. So that's... Well, I'm just going to count the chat's votes, but... So, 1 vote towards there. Just a few more seconds for chat to see if there's a turnaround. Alright, we are going to stare her down. I give her my most hateful stare, trying to make her look away like it's some pathetic preschool standoff. With every passing moment, I struggle more and more to focus on her eyes. It feels nauseating, kind of like gazing into some ever-shifting Escher-esque fractals I don't know. It becomes so vertigo-inducing, I need to avert my eyes for a moment, losing the dumb competition as a result. I can barely suppress the urge to spit right in her stupid, doodle-covered face. She uncrosses her legs in a strangely seductive motion. In her mind's eyes, it probably looked like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, but in reality, it had all the grace of a tracksuit Slav squatting. It seems we're gonna be here a while longer. Pull out a cigarette from my crumpled package and light it, casually, as if I wasn't bothered at all by the invader. Before I can take a single puff, Notjob snatches the cigarette out of my mouth. Don't mind if I do. Who do you... She cuts me off mid-sentence. Shh, no talking. You need to get back to your happy place. I try to hold the impetus to rip her face off. She picks up after a few seconds. I don't like you. I don't hate you either. Not yet, at least. Shh. I'm a good judge of character. Yours still eludes me. Get to the fucking point! She flicks the ash off the cigarette in a fluid motion and takes a long puff. No exhaling. Smoke comes out of her mouth while she speaks, like her intestines caught on fire. My special friend asked me to note your every step, judge your every move, and count your every failure. Believe me, when I started this job, I thought there would be a lot less counting. Who is she talking about? Benhard? Kadir? Torque? She tilts her head in an upsettingly canine manner. Little girl, I ran all sorts of charts and graphs on you, and they all pointed to the same result. Useless hussy. Can you help your sister out and illuminate me as to what all the fuss is about? Don't want to help? Come on. If you're a good doggy, you might get a biscuit. As if all that bullshit wasn't enough, she taps my nose like I'm some fucking puppy. Oh, no, you didn't. You want to get nuts? Okay, let's get nuts. Dominate. Get the fuck out of here. Lash out or calm down. Well, I'm very new. I'm barely a year old, so going around dominating other vampires sounds like a terrible plan, a great way to not stay alive. Also, if she's Malkavian, I do not want to go into your head at all. Nomad says, I would have ripped her head a few minutes ago. Agreed, but we're in public. If we hadn't been in public, I would have seriously considered lashing out. But calm down does not sound like what we're going for. We're trying to be very La Sombra here. Then again, La Sombra are not idiots. They're not the type to rush head first. They're decisive, but not necessarily always extreme. I'm leaning towards calm down. Let's see. Yeah, Staniel seems to be supporting the calm down option. That's good. Yeah, I think that's the best option here. She's probably working for someone important even, so if we take her out, we'll be in big trouble. In a truly Herculean effort, I restrained myself from smacking her hand aside and going for her throat, despite all the pleasantly violent images flashing in my mind. I clenched my fist so hard the skin gives in to my fingernails, painting the palm of my hand with just a little bit of blood. That loony bitch is clearly savoring the moment, until she's not. As soon as I manage to compose myself, she storms out without looking at me once. A loud slam announces both our departure and the necessity to repair the door for the umpteenth time or so. I'm still not sure what that was all about, but I swear, if I ever meet her again, I don't think I'm going to be half as zen as I was tonight. Me neither. It's time to get back to work. Nomad says, sorry, couldn't help myself. Too much get in my head. Right. He's referring to Get a Fenris, of course. Stating that he, as a werewolf, would have ripped her head off. And as a werewolf, absolutely. There's obvious worm taint all over that lady. If this had been a werewolf game, she'd have been a goner. But we're La Sombra tonight, so she gets to live for a bit longer. I step inside the subway and head for my meeting with Kadir. Oh, for fuck's sake, I thought you were kidding. Nope, couldn't reach her, but I know for a fact Hope is there. He's pointing in the direction of a double spiral building. What is she doing there? I understand she is the current leader of the company. Acting CEO, to be exact. No, you're pulling my leg. Of all the places in this city, the company that brags about creating IT solutions of the future, always surrounded by rumors of monstrous workers' abuse, all sorts of ethical violations, trading information with governments, and ending the career of a certain promising journalist and professional fuck-up who attempted to investigate them seriously. You might be able to ask her both professional and personal questions. Two birds with one stone. I don't get it. Last time I checked, the company belonged to Kara Montgomery. I'm told she quietly took a sabbatical a few months ago, and it sure looks like the kind of sabbatical you don't come back from. Final death, corporate backstabbing, or sudden change of heart. Probably final death, considering that a vampire took her place. I think Hope is the Malkavian character, by the way. Final death? Very possible, but I have no idea. I remember I was shocked when I first learned that one of my nemesis back in my old life was a vampire all along. When I realized her position made her untouchable to me, I was beyond mad. Well, whatever happened, it couldn't happen to a nicer person. What about her brother Jesse? You're asking me? Last I checked, you were the expert on this company. I just handled the basic intel for you, even though I should even really be here. Someone says the music is loud. Oh, let's fix that. Audio. Just gonna drop most of those. Okay, thank you for letting me know, Staniel. If it's too low or still too loud, just let me know. I will also bring this a bit closer to me so you can hear me better, so that should work. But if it doesn't, please let me know. Yeah, and I hope you realize I'm grateful. You better be. So is Hope just another corporate shark? Well, she is a child of Carter. A theatrical pause. He smiles as he sees me wince, but very much unlike him. He took her in for her particular multifaceted talents related to the internet, knowing is hopelessly behind the times in that regard. I hear she's been unruly, though. Well, unruly is good. I can work with unruly. So you're telling me she might not be a stuck-up startup bitch? Language. As I've told you a few times now, when it comes to the internet, just assume I haven't the slightest idea. I'm getting there myself. I haven't been able to check my email for 5 months. I have no idea what the kids at BBB are talking about most of the time. Oh my god, I might be getting old. Don't worry. The moment you realize you don't give a damn about most fads you would have cared about years ago is a liberating one. Been there, done that, at the beginning of the 20th century. Old. Anyway, you'll probably hear Hope's story straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have much time, so I'll get straight to the point. You shouldn't be looking at anything in the main building. It's just a front. Ignore it. What you want to do is use the elevators to get to the lowest floor of the building. Psh. I heard stories about the double spiral basement, but I have no idea what to make of them. Every source told me a different rumor. Did any of them tell you a rumor about an army of underground ghouls? No, but I'm all ears. Double Spiral employs an army of ghouls as a cheap workforce. They work and live underground, away from prying eyes, with lesser rights than regular kind employees. Perfect for business. Wow. I'm actually speechless for a second. I had profoundly low expectations at that company, but every time I learn something new about what's going on behind the scenes, I'm still surprised at the level of scumbaggery at play. Stenel says Double Spiral. It's the name of the company, but I see what you're going for. Any relation to the Black Spiral from Werewolf? I don't think so, because that's a vampire game, but who knows, honestly. The two companies, Draw Distance and Walkabout, have absolutely been talking. There's a lot of tweets between the both online, so they could have included Easter eggs in either games about the other one. That's absolutely a possibility, yeah. I suppose we'll keep playing and figure it out later. That being said, I don't remember if Double Spiral was in the original game. I remember that the Hope, again, is the Malkavian character. She was pretty cool, actually. But she didn't own a company back then. She was a streamer, actually, doing all kinds of weird shit online. She has several personalities that she manifests through chat, essentially. So whenever she speaks, she tends to do it under a certain internet handle as she's talking to you. Like, she's somehow talking as several different people on a keyboard to you while she's talking, and all of these personalities kind of mix. She's pretty weird. She's pretty cool. She was one of the interesting characters of the first game. She had a nemesis who was involved with a company, maybe Double Spiral. Unfortunately, I did not see the end of that storyline. As I explained on the first game, the way the original... as I explained before, the way the original was set up is you have about 5 or 6 nights to do whatever you want. After that, the game ends. So if you, like I did, pick and choose several different stories, you're not going to be you're not going to be able to see the end of any of them. You have to pick one and stick with it until you see the ending of it. So I did not see the end of Hope's story, but I'm thinking this is essentially the sequel to that. She probably took out the CEO in question and took that CEO's place somehow. If I would have finished that story, I might have been able to confirm that. Which is an interesting way, honestly, to create links, I guess, between the two games and the two characters. Literally, the background of Julia ties into the storyline of the first game, which is pretty cool. I'll leave the moral judgment to you, expert. In any case, you need to reach room number 507, where the CEO supposedly resides. Chat, can you please just type 507 in the chat, so if we need to remember it, we can see it right there. And then, get Hope to answer your questions. Thank you very much, Nomad. His old-timey flip phone vibrates. Speaking of, if you've got any left for me, it's now or never. I'm needed at the hot hole now. What's the security? What's the best approach? Can't I just ask her normally? Well, security, I assume we have the ghouls. The best approach, valid, I guess. You might know Hope enough to ask how to talk to her. Or can't I just ask her normally? We know the answer is no. She's Malkavian. So I'm gonna go with the best approach. How should I approach a building? I've told you everything I know. Just do what I do all the time. And that is, scout the situation, then decide. Right. I forgot that's what you do all the time. You mean scouting? No. Stating the obvious. The phone vibrates again. Well, that's it for me. Arturo is pestering me to show up at the Elysium 5 minutes ago. Tell him I kindly suggest he should go fuck himself. Not in 1,000 years. Well, good luck with your mission, soldier. With a mock salute, he disappears inside his car and drives away. I really, really like what they're doing with this game. Kadir in the first game was already a very interesting character, but he didn't have a counterpoint. He was just firm, a stickler to the rules, camera-loving sheriff whose job was mostly to figure out whether or not he should kill you for essentially being a walking breach of the masquerade. And even then, he was still pretty cool and most likely the standout character of the first game. In this game, he's stuck with Julia, who gives him shit all the time, which allows him to be a bit more cynical, a bit more sarcastic, while still 100% remaining Kadir. It creates moments of humor, that tongue-in-cheek humor that I really, really enjoy. With a mock salute, he disappears inside his car and drives away. Nothing left for me but to head in. Still, I'm anxious. There are two approaches to choose from, and whichever I pick, I will have to stick with it. If I force my way in and assert my authority, bad cop style, that should make an impression. Bad bitch coming in, with the entire court behind her back, bluffing her way to victory. Madman Quill, hello y'all. Hi Matt, how are you doing? Long time no see, my friend. Happy to see you on the chat. Madman Quill, is a good friend of mine, of course. So is Daniel and Nomad. So very happy to see them all every week on the chat. But Madman Quill is here for the first time, I believe. So thanks for coming, bro. Sneaking in and politely asking for cooperation seems like the less disruptive, more me option. But it's not like being me has taken me anywhere thus far. Shit. I kind of wish I was still stuck in my routine where I didn't need to be doing things like developing a personality. It's a bit of a coin flip, honestly, but I gotta make a choice here. How do I approach double spiral? Time to be aggressive or better stay covert? I'm actually gonna choose, instead of giving that one to the chat, because I know Hope a little bit from the first game, and I think she'll respond better to the less aggressive stance. Sorry, just gonna move this a bit so I stop hitting it with my elbow. Trait updated. Being aggressive is not me. I don't even want to think about the headaches I'd have to deal with. Traits were here. Right, okay. As we remember, traits are given after certain key choices in the game. So we got loyal only to myself, glass half full, and not into bad cop shtick. So far, our choices have been, I think, the wise ones, but I don't think they're the ones that are going to give us the La Sombra ending. Every time a key choice gave us a trait, I took the less aggressive option. We'll see. We'll get the ending we get, and after Heart of the Forest, we might do a second playthrough purposefully trying to get the ending that we didn't get the first time. So it's all good either way. We've got plenty of time, plenty of weeks, plenty of episodes to go through both of these games several times. So we'll see. Being aggressive is not me. I don't even want to think about the headaches I'd have to deal with. The less disruptive I am, the better the chance they won't get pissed off at me. And I do need Hope to be cooperative. This good cop approach should pay off eventually. Alright, let's do this. I cloak myself in shadows and let my instinct take over. The lobby isn't well lit, so it's not hard to get behind a lone security guard. He does notice something is wrong with the security cameras and hits the display a few times. But once he's done, I'm already inside an emergency staircase and making the descent. The doors to the deepest floor are locked, but it takes just a bit of brute force. And I'm inside. Hello, double spiral. Thought you wouldn't see me again, huh? Assholes. I look around and find an emergency evacuation map. Bullseye. Looks like all the information I need is here. There it is. Room 507. Hello, you. Someone comes around. Looks like one of Hope's nerdy ghouls is here to sniff around, but I'm already in the shadows. I slink away as she starts patrolling the corridor, checking if everything is okay. This might be dangerous, actually. Ghouls can have some vampiric supernatural powers. And Hope is a Malkavian, so she has Sorry, words are a problem tonight. She has access to a power known as Auspex, which can see things others don't, things that are hidden. So even if I'm very well hidden in the dark, in the shadows, she might be able to see me. Slink away. Right, we read that. Okay. Cameras, body heat sensors, electronic locks. Still, I'm managing. I remain cautious, just like Kadir would want me to be. But it's surprisingly easy for me to avoid security. Progressing towards room 507 is far easier than expected. I reach the double spiral offices where, just like Kadir said, hordes of ghouls are slaving away at their company. slaving away for their company. Deep learning, spyware, social media manipulation, yada yada. The important thing right now is everyone is staring at their own screen, so it's easy for me to keep sneaking. Aside from the fact she still seems to be on my trail, only slowed by the fact she's thorough in her search, I'd better pick up the pace. And there it is, the final corridor. Time to announce myself. I slowly walk to the end of the corridor. There it is. Room 507. Very nice, very nice. As you might remember, the curse for the La Sombra clan, at least as far as Vampire 5th edition is concerned, is that technology has issues with them. They don't show up clearly on cameras, heat sensors, and things like that. So here, the developers, even though it's a visual novel, they didn't have to go this far. They've given us some movie footage type things of the moon so far that was really cool, and here they're going with a visual representation of what the curse looks like, which I am digging quite a bit. The door looks harder to take care of than the other ones in this place. Probably won't be able to take care of it in the same way I did the others. The door to the office of the current Double Spiral CEO. This fucking company. I get pissed off, but I'm trying to control it. There's a camera by the door. If she knows what to look for, she can probably see I'm here on her screen. But just to make sure, I knock on the door. Hope, I'm a Camarilla detective and I will need you to answer some questions. Hope, I know you're in there. Open the door. I will not leave until you do. I'm here on the behalf of the Sheriff of New York City. Hope? I keep pounding on the door and calling her name. After a minute or so, a voice rings out in the intercom. This thing on? I guess it is. Alright, I got your message loud and clear. I'll meet you in the offices. I'll be right there. Looks like you made it past poor Nastya. Get back to the offices and keep her company. She's probably beyond pissed off about you eluding her grasp. But don't make it a big deal, okay? Thank you for your cooperation. I'll be right there. What's up? On the one hand, clothes you could reasonably expect to find in any CEO's wardrobe. On the other, a body covered in tattoos, flashy jewelry, dyed hair, and wild makeup. The thought that she might be yet another CEO playing the nonconformist crosses my mind, but she strikes me as someone who's more than happy to live in her own little bubble. Still, I won't be fooled. She is the boss of Double Spiral. So, how'd you find me? Sheriff Kadir Al-Hazmi did. You'd have to ask him. I take out a new cigarette without thinking. You can't smoke in here. Oh, sorry, that was not Hope. You can't smoke in here, lady. Just let her. Don't treat me like I'm your enemy. I come in peace. A deep, relaxing drag. So when did you realize I was here? Right at the start. There was a momentary laser malfunction. Lasted a second or two. Hasn't tripped an alarm, but I guess something was off. That's it. Hunches have gotten me every job I've ever had. Hunches saved my life anytime I got into a messy situation. These days, the reality's too complicated to rely on anything else. Can't find a better head of security than our Nastya. And her hunches are the main reason why. They're like sixth sense. A corporate rebel, huh? What's that sixth sense? Don't I know you from somewhere? Yeah, the previous game. I do dig that look. Interesting. She no longer speaks in handles, though. That's different. What's the sixth sense is essentially auspex. That's something common to Malkavian, so I'm not too intrigued by that. Don't I know you from somewhere? Might be an interesting way to bridge the gap and get the two characters talking. And corporate rebel is interesting as a I'm interested to get to know you type approach, and a friendly opening essentially is what I'm saying. I'm hesitating between those two, and as Madman Quill is absolutely my resident Malkavian reference, I will leave it to you, my friend. If your attention is on the chat right now, the stream, I mean, what do you say? I'm talking to a Malkavian here. Which of these two options I should go with to get on her good side? Of course, chat in general obviously can give their opinion as well. Obviously, I that was my way of saying, chat, what do you think? I'm just letting people who are watching the stream know that Madman Quill knows his crap about Malkavians. I suspect he is one in real life. Alright, looks like chat does not have an opinion for me. Okay. In that case, I will attempt to get to know her. Yeah, I think I'm going with this one. Haven't I seen you somewhere? I don't know. A club, maybe? Yeah. Oh, we were talking to the ghoul, not... Yep. Yeah, that was a ghoul, not the vampire. Okay. Yeah, last year, soon after I was embraced, I visited that one club in that refurbished warehouse, and you were there. You've got a memorable aura. Yeah. I DJ and help out there from time to time. Gotta show my face if I want to make it big. And why don't you focus on that? Following that career path doesn't exactly seem compatible with being head of security for Double Spiral. And not just because the necessary skill sets are so different. Nastia looks at Hope. Working at Double Spiral provides a lot of benefit to someone who relies on the internet for promotion, lady. Slowed aging is just a nice perk. Lively chat, girls, but I'd love it if you saved it for later. I'm CEO now. I have a lot of duties I must pretend to handle. Well said. I just need to ask you a few questions. Sure. Yeah. Call me if you need me. I got a weird hunch about this one too. Don't worry. I'll disappear as quietly as I arrived. Yeah. I prefer to be sure that you left, lady, so that I can report it to my boss. We'll talk security later. Don't worry, this shit happens. For now, take 5. Nastia leaves, and I'm left alone with Hope in the corner of the office. Feels funny to be standing here in front of you. Huh? And why is that? You people had me fired from my job before I was embraced. I see. You're that, Sawinski girl from Lodestar? Yeah. Somehow I never put 2 and 2 together. So you're the La Sombra rep for this city now, huh? As she's talking to me, she keeps tapping on her phone with terrifying speed. I don't feel like I have her full focus, and it's getting on my nerves. Just so you know, I have no idea why you've taken Kara Montgomery's place, and I doubt you'd tell me, but the bitch deserved to burn in hell. Hell yeah, she does. Wait, did you just admit? Hold your horses. No. Jesus, this is why normal CEOs pay for PR people to talk for them. I only agree that she's a horrible person in every way that counts, nothing more. Does she know that's what you think of her? Why did she let you take her position in the first place? What? I will just cut through the bullshit, okay, Miss Lodestar? I guess this is about Jesse and Kara covering his creepy ass. You've spent months on this case, and you'd like some closure. Pretty much. Well, here's your closure. Double Spiral has severed practically all ties with them. They don't work here, they get no company money, they probably won't ever show up here again. The company is not their circus anymore, and the workers are not their monkeys. I'm in charge now. So yeah, if there's anything you'd like from me, I'm all ears. It wasn't just Jesse and his sister. This company has ingrained structures of abuse and immoral. I've ordered internal investigations and audits. Everyone related to those illicit activities was disciplined. legal actions, firings, and rebukes, all depending on the severity of their misdemeanors. I don't have a stomach for all that creepy corporate shit, so I'm trying to steer this ship in the right direction. Don't know what else I can tell you. Oh, for fuck's sake. No matter how I look at it, seems like she's done everything I hope to achieve. The Montgomery clan is over. Queen Bitch, symbol of everything that's wrong with tech CEOs, is gone. Jesse, that perverted and embezzling son of a bitch, is gone. I should be glad, so why is there a sinking pit in my stomach? This doesn't feel right. So that's capitalism, huh? You should make amends. Does not sound like a great way to get on her good side. This doesn't feel right. Does not sound like a good way either. So let's go with this one. So that's capitalism, huh? Is it? I think it's something worse. When I look at the online world, I don't see capital ruling us. I only see incomprehensible vectors, unknown entities constantly opening and closing various markets of information. This is something worse than what familiar 20th century technologies taught us. I don't know what it is, but it's terrifying, and it will continue until we give it a name. But, you look like you need emotional support, not my depressing philosophizing. Well, shit sucks, and I'm sorry. Biggest case in my professional life, solved by some weirdo who fucked Kara and Jesse over in presumably underhanded ways. Doesn't get more anticlimactic than this. Fucking hell. I want to ask her how she did it, but why would she tell me? All I can guess is she's an outcast who decided to get her hands dirty and obtain power to do something she considered good. Something I've always been afraid to do. Anyway, I feel for you, but I have a lot of work to do, so if this wasn't just a trip down memory lane and you have any other questions, speak now or forever hold your peace, okay? I feel like a car just ran me over, but I need to keep my shit together. Alright. A few days ago, the Anarch Baron was found dead in his office. Are you familiar with the case? Douglas Callahan. Of course I'm familiar. Every kindred online is talking about it. And what are they saying? They're accusing everyone. I mean, it's the internet. Are they accusing you? Why would they do that? I found a peculiar note in Callahan's remains. It had your name on it. Huh? What can you say about this? Nothing. I've never met the guy. I've never even seen him. He wasn't my crowd. Then why would he have a note with your name in his pocket? Why were Walt Disney's last written word Kurt Russell? No clue. I watch her closely, but nothing suggests she's hiding anything. Well, the note actually contained 3 other names, and nothing else. Agathon, which was the Tremere we investigated last week. D'Angelo, which we haven't met yet, but is a Nosferatu. And Tamika, which I don't remember at all. Gangrel, I think... Yeah, Tamika's Gangrel. I did not actually mix with her. When I played Cutters of New York, I did most of D'Angelo's story and about half of Hope's story. I tried to befriend Agathon, but not the primogen, but the regent. The regent would not let me see him. As well as for Tamika, I did not talk to her. I was considering doing the Gangrel storyline on a separate playthrough that I didn't actually end up doing. Ringing any bells now? Her finger, which hasn't stopped moving across the phone touchscreen since I first saw her, freezes. Yeah, kinda does actually. It's a short list of promising unaffiliated kindred that was making the rounds in NYC a few months ago, in case anyone needed a hero for hire. I didn't know Callahan had it. I know Sophie Langley did, as well as a few primogen. Not sure about the Anarchs. Who could have prepared this list? One of the local information brokers. For those who just came in and missed a few episodes, Sophia Langley was the Toreador Primogen in the timeline of the original game, Covers of New York. She has disappeared as far as Shadows of New York is concerned. One of the local information brokers. A short but telling pause. Anonymous. How anonymous? Sort of anonymous? She's obviously conflicted about whether she should tell me, or perhaps she's pretending so that I worm it out of her. I've been a good sport ever since I walked through her door. Maybe appealing to her sense of morality will work. I really need your help. I want to prevent the tensions between the local anarchs and the court from escalating, and Everlead helps. She briefly considers her options, then gives up. It's my sire, Carden van der Weyden. Oh. He's brokering information? Everyone knows becoming the Prince of New York is his ultimate goal, and that he wants to make friends in all the high places. Sharing useful intel is a pretty effective way to achieve that. So you're telling me that he, a Malkavian Primogen, sold this list to an Anarch Baron? Sure looks like it. Why would he suggest his own child to somebody? To have a person on the inside, just another way to further his information web. Wouldn't they realize you two are close? The story going around is, he left me alone and I hate his guts. Well, at least half of that is true. She's talkative, probably sees me as a way to undermine Carter. Let's see how much further I can push her. I was wondering how someone like you could control a company like Double Spiral. I suppose a friend in high places would explain it. Yeah, lucky me. Not happy about being a boss, not happy about ruining Montgomery, or not happy about being rich. I would assume she's not happy about being a boss. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. Not happy about being a girl boss, leading one of the biggest IT companies in the country? A boss. She stares at dozens of displays on the wall in front of her. Do you remember the Y2K era internet? Jesus, I barely remember the internet at all. My people can't really use it. But yeah, I guess I sort of remember. Forums, GeoCities, browser wars. All those handmade amateurish web pages. It was a golden age. Everyone was welcome to freely express their creativity and obsessions in this abstract new frontier. No formulated rules. Every site was a distinct new universe to explore. You know, as a kid, for some reason I kept saving every web page that moved or changed me in some way. I don't even know why I did it. But today, a folder with these is one of my greatest treasures. Fast forward to today, I'm the boss of a company that has one overarching goal. Steer the online narrative in every possible way that benefits the Camarilla. And because the online world is so fucked right now, I can do it using only 5 websites or so. Every day I deploy thousands of believable sock puppets to force some belief on the masses. Right now they're being managed by these ghouls. Soon they will be partially managed by AI. Basically an all-American version of the Chinese 50 cents party. All new pattern of public opinion guidance. Ever since I was a teen, I've pretended to be different people running online for fun. Aping the posting patterns of others was something I turned out to be horrifyingly good at. I became even better at it after the embrace. Something about the voice of Malkav in my head. After several years, I became a one-person internet empire. I could impersonate anyone. I dream of Tulips, a humble florist from Chattanooga who strives to share positive energy with their audience using photos of beautiful bouquets, motivational quotes, and the occasional The Office gif. Volva Hufflepuff, a single mom from Brighton who reckons all these trans women must be bunkers and spends seemingly every waking moment of her life having a row with everyone who disagrees. Polygon Classicist, a 19-year-old kid from Utah, who keeps posting Y2K 3D renders of poorly proportioned, scantily clad ladies and telling his audience to remember what they took from you. Somehow this talent got me here. The way she just spoke right there with the handle name and description is how she spoke pretty much all the time in the previous game. She essentially stated a handle that essentially gave you everything you needed to know about this personality, and then she said something as that personality. Somehow this talent got me here. Well, it's no longer fun, but work. Work I usually entrust to these ghouls because of all of my duties. I want to hang out. Let's start over. I want out before my entire fucking mind gets monetized. But Carter won't have that. So I'll keep doing my best for both him and Double Spiral's investors. That's why she wants me to look at him. I assume most of your operations focus on New York City? A lot of them, yeah. How do you imitate a New Yorker voice with these sock puppet accounts? Living in Manhattan and being mentally unstable makes this shit easy. To a normal, well-adjusted person from the outside... To a normal, well-adjusted person from outside the city, everyone here seems mentally unstable. Ever watched that 9/11 Howard Stern show? No. Check it out someday. It's educational. Ask anyone in NYC about it, and they're like, it was a great bonding moment. He was helping us make sense of everything. He kept saying what we were all thinking. Then you listen to it, and it's everyone yelling that we need to nuke something. Maybe the entire world. Get rid of all the Muslims. Fuck human rights. No investigations. Take their oil. Cheering. You watch it, you study it, you witness that specific brand of humor in the face of tragedy, and you understand that nothing outside of NYC really exists for the people who live here, or the vampires. A foundational text, really. Whenever I need to get in that New York mindset for work, I let it play in the background. Works like a charm. Seriously, give it a shot sometimes. Someday I might. For now, I think I will confront vendor Waden with what you've told me. Or is what you haven't told me? What's the story? Me? Of course I haven't told you anything. You're such a good investigator. You figured it out all by yourself. And if he asks, just tell him Kaiser sold you the info. That should do the trick. I see. Thank you. Kaiser is a Nosferatu informant type person from the first game. What for? I did nothing. Let Nastia show you out, and if you don't know Vendor Waden's address, just ask her. Thank you for having me, Mr. Vendor Waden. No need. I'll be happy to assist your investigation in whatever way I can, Miss Savinsky. That sickeningly sweet smile. This office, spacious but oppressive. Here's a man who knows how to subtly unnerve people. But does he even realize it? I'm sure the presence of the esteemed Addison Payne will guarantee I'm totally transparent. Am I right, Addison? Looks like I've interrupted a friendly meeting. In the far corner of the room, I spot glasses of blood and 2 spittoons. Vices and follies of the rich. Are you sure I'm not wasting your time? Not at all. Busy as I might be, I can't say I'm not curious about the findings in the case. Yes, my thoughts exactly. So, how are you handling your newfound responsibilities? I'm managing. I'll start by asking the obvious. Where were you the night Douglas Callahan met his untimely demise? Vendor Vaden raises an eyebrow and then lets out a restrained chuckle. Huh. Hear that, Addison? I might be suspected of foul play. Exciting, isn't it? Carter, no antics, please. Just answer the question. Of course. Well, I was right here. Just like I told Prince Penhard, as much as I love to celebrate my power, sometimes one has to celebrate the amount of work piling up on their desk. So your alibi is you were right here. Alibi? Ha! Yes, I suppose. Can anyone back up your story? Well, I did make a few business-related phone calls as I was working, so there's that. That doesn't really answer my question, does it? He regards me with a stare reserved for a troublesome child. Miss Sawinski, this right here is my private little fortress, a space specifically designed to make me focus. I don't really let people in to break that focus. Aside from occasional esteemed guests, such as yourselves, of course, and a few wonderful Mexican women responsible for the cleaning duties. So you don't have an alibi. The look in his eyes scream, why won't you at least pretend to try and get on board with my program, kid? I suppose. But why would that matter? Because I found something that belongs to you and the victim's person. Pardon me? Took the words right out of my mouth. We're not talking a murder weapon or something of that caliber, of course. No. It was a short list of 4 names, unaffiliated kindred whose services could be useful to anyone interested in toppling the current power balance in NYC. Tamika, Hope, D'Angelo, and Agathon. Excuse me, Miss Sawinski, but I'm afraid I don't follow. How's that something that belongs to me? I have it on good authority that it's a short list you've been shopping around to anyone interested here in NYC, be it the Camarilla or the Anarchs. Addison tenses up, and his host is not happy about it. This is just preposterous. I'm calling your bluff right here, miss. No, the bluff is coming right now. Mr. Van der Weyden, if you want to voice concerns about the information I have, how about you voice them to Kaiser, not me? Addison turns to Van der Weyden, clenching his lips and gripping his wheelchair armrests tightly. For a brief moment, the ever-present smile The ever-present smile on Van der Weyden's face goes missing, and the expression that replaces it reminds me of a horrifying void. Like a sneak peek into what's really going on in his soul. He quickly collects himself, but image is burned into my retinas. To think these sorts of unsavory rumors are circulating around me. I should be grateful you let me know. So you're denying it? Of course I'm denying it. Categorically. You can bet your life savings on it. I certainly hope it is nothing more than an unfortunate blunder. Et tu, Brute? Come on, Addison. We've known each other for years. Yes. And what about it? Sweet Jesus, Addison. I will get back to you in a second. Any more questions, Miss Sawinski? Any of the names on that list sound familiar to you? No. Yes. That is my long-estranged child on your list, but that's just another reason why I'm flabbergasted anyone would consider it mine. I see. Well, I hope you understand why I'm considering you a prime suspect now. Yes, and I swear to clear my name as soon as possible. Scout's honor. Any more questions? I'm good for now. Sheriff Al-Azmi will probably contact you later. I will get in touch with him myself, ASAP. Once again, thank you for your work. He extends his hand toward me, practically forcing me to shake it. Then he puts his hand on my shoulder to lead me to the door, all too eager to see me off. Out of sheer curiosity, Mr. Van der Weyden, I have one more question. It may be a bit random. I really didn't need to ask it, but I wanted him to die inside for a moment. Of course, my dear. His slightly strained tone suggests I may have succeeded. You seem like a person who couldn't live outside of NYC. By chance, have you listened? Excellent. Have you listened to Howard Stern's talk show after the World Trade Center fell? I said World Trade Center, sorry. A tad unsure, but once again carefully controlled chuckle escapes his mouth. Geez, that is random, but, well, New York. Born and raised, just like you said. Of course I did. Your opinion? Same as everyone else. It was the spiritual guidance we needed that day, coming from the unlikeliest of places. A visceral response that verbalized everything we felt. A beautiful moment of unity. Not that I'm into lowbrow jokes about Pamela Anderson and the typical shock value the show tended to offer, but as far as I'm concerned, Howard did an indispensable thing that day. Why are you asking? No particular reason. I thought you might give me some insight into the kind of person you are. Well, that's the kind of person I am. Just your average New Yorker. So it seems. Well then, I'll leave you and Mr. Ping to your plans of conquering the city. Conquering the... Now that's spicy! Addison, I love this girl. She's gonna go far, I'm telling you. She's got that spunk, that glint in her eyes. Goodbye, Miss Sowinski. I wish you a pleasant respite and a swift success in your investigation. Good night. I make it a point to bow to Addison's servant, not the man himself. Doubt he even noticed, but at least these invisible displays of rebellion make me feel a little better about myself. Alright, the faster I leave, the better. Julia. Father? How are you holding up? I'm fine. Stumbling around and hoping for a miracle to happen, like always. No better place to ask for a miracle than behind these gates, you know? So I hear. As I pass him the report about Aisling and Agathon, I look around, but Benoit is nowhere to be seen. Finally, a one-on-one chat. Feels nice to be able to chat one-on-one for once. Ah, yes. I knew you'd say that. I had errands to run, and I thought it might be for the best if Benoit took care of these. Wasn't in the mood for a childish spat tonight, huh? Something along those lines. Listen, can't you think of something to placate him? Placate him how, exactly? Benoit won't accept anything less than me joining a convent. He's like a worried parent. A basic gesture here and there, showing up in church from time to time, or pretending to listen would get him off your case. I mean, I've been through this song and dance before, with my own worried parents when I was a teenager. Wandering the forest until mass was over, not even being able to smoke because they'd pick up the scent. Not the best moments of my life, you know, and a part of the reason I'm distancing myself from them. I don't need this fake energy in my life, and I'm honestly weirded out by you asking me to lie. I'm not asking you to lie, Julia. Let me ask you this way. Are you a spiritual person? Guess I am. Kind of. Always was. Suddenly being able to see ghosts did not change a thing. I think it's mostly because seeing the world as purely material seemed boring to me somehow. You are, and you were raised Catholic. So can't you find a way to express that spirituality in our church? I don't see a way right now. And why is that? I sigh. Too many people who think my soul needs to be saved because I live with a woman, for starters. I don't know, there's a lot of reasons. Like the sin of drinking blood every other night, or feeling some primal fear whenever I walk by a clergyman whose faith seems to actually be genuine. That one sounds like an excuse. It's about your relationship with God, not other people. In theory. But back in the old country, I've heard my share of homilies that felt like complete condemnations of my kind, and none that would condemn hate towards people like me. And you know, when church-adjacent people try to stir shit around your very existence every few months, some minimal support would be appreciated. Sorry, all you can count on is silent complicity. I get it. I know there's a lot of work to be done, and a lot of undeserved hurt going around, but listen, I don't even want to talk about it. I fucking hate the tone I use when I talk about it. I sound preachier than those preachers, and my biggest dream is just not to give a shit. But I remember things, like this story about a guy from my hometown, most macho guy around, with a jaw you could sharpen a knife on. He became an actor in Warsaw, very successful, deservingly so. The capital might not be NYC, but it is still a big city, and big cities go to the heads of bumpkins like us. In his case, it resulted in a dream of coming out to his parents. He was surrounded by all these stories of openly queer people. Played one even. So he thought he had a chance at making it work. So he goes back to his town, tells everyone he's going to live his truth. His dad, a ruling party adjacent businessman, curses him. His uncle takes him into the bushes and starts to destroy him physically. It's so bad he gets put in the ICU. His face and jaw get ruined for good. Fast forward a year or two. With his career over, the guy is stuck in his parents' rustic house. With no other path to follow, he turns to God, who tells him to forgive his kin. Everything is fine again. Angelic choirs sing of divine mercy. A kind-looking priest talks about protecting our families. A man sits in the front row of the church, a disfigured smile on his face. But that story alone didn't drive me away. One time, when I saw how blissful he was, I could swear he was actually able to hear God whispering to him. He looked like a saint. It fucked me up so bad I left. I feel nauseated now. Maybe I'm still reeling from hearing about Kara and Jesse Montgomery. Now, if we could never talk about it again, that'd be great. I know that I tend to sound like a loser who loves to pontificate about shit I can't change, but I at least keep trying to change myself, damn it. I won't offer empty platitudes, but I think I understand what I was meant to understand. Hope I haven't insulted you in any way. Whatever. I've learned not to hold people responsible for what the rest of their organization is doing. It would be hard looking in the mirror otherwise. Not that there's much I could see in the mirror right now. I'm just wondering about one thing. There's always a cross on your chest. I like how it goes in my outfit. Is it just a fashionable accessory to you? Interesting choice. It's an important piece of outfit. It's something more, or good night, Father. I mean, I like Father Leonard. It looks like the character likes him as well, so I suppose I'll go with that. It's a memento reminding me of a broken promise. That's all. I won't inquire further. Good. Have a good night, Father. I find her sitting in bed, scrolling through Pinterest on her phone. So how are you doing, detective? I fall on the bed, bury my face in the pillows, and scream. That bad, huh? Stendhal says, good night, Father. Are you going to bed? Is that what you're saying? Wishing me good night? Or... I'll keep reading until she answers. I don't want to tell her about Double Spiral. I still have to figure out how I feel about it. I'm just not cut out for this. Oh, shut up. If you aren't, who is? Oh, maybe she was... okay. Stendhal might have been voting for me to just not answer. I think that's what she was saying, right? I did like that answer. It was a really close second. I honestly almost chose that. She says, no, I would have chose that. Yeah. I'm almost sad I didn't, honestly. Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot, Columbo, Mads Mikkelsen's boyfriend from Hannibal, whatever his name was, I don't know. Someone can actually put two and two together. You can't fool me into believing you're incompetent, you dumbass. I've read your articles. Don't pretend you suddenly forgot how to do your job. I haven't, but I've got no evidence, no witnesses, no promising leads, nothing. I just stumble around assuming things, talking big. Ugh. So you're like, I don't know, Jack Nicholson in Chinatown? And he actually solved his case. And then wished he never took it up? Was that supposed to cheer me up? I'm just saying that the situation you're in sounds awful. A lot like Chinatown. Sorry. There was no pause there. I'm just saying the situation you're in sounds an awful lot like Chinatown. Depraved elites, big plans for the city, blah blah blah. Yeah, and that's suppressing. It is what it is. I just think you should approach it in this way and look for a solution to your problems outside of the box. Not as a mystery, but maybe like a trap to escape? Maybe? I throw myself on the bed again and lie there for a bit, staring at the ceiling. Then I approach Dakota from behind and tug her sleeve to draw her attention. Psst. Hey. Put the phone away. Now? Come on, Jules. We can't do this every night. I've got my own work and I need to worry about anemia. You said so yourself. Besides, I was just looking for inspiration. I rub against her clothes with my face like a cat. You're impossible. Haven't you noticed what's going on in the news? People are going absolutely insane about this virus. Canceling trips and orders and... Pretty please. I can't, honey. I have to replenish my stash. And besides, I'm worried about overuse. Brain is working a bit too slow. My balance is off. I was just thinking how I miss meditation. She's giving me clear signals. She just wants an excuse. And even though it would be the responsible thing to do, I know she's insatiable. She's usually the one who takes the initiative. Let's try a final push. I bite her ear and whisper in it. No drugs tonight. Let's do this raw. She throws her hand up in the air. Victory. Jesus, you're greedy these days. I always have been. Haven't you noticed? Achievement unlocked. The symbolic and the semiotic. And we're sleeping. We have not chosen that. Oh, we can still. No, we can't. Okay. I guess it's showing us what we didn't take. For now, we're going to rest and see what happens. Oh, you're up early. Yeah, told you. Got work to do. I stretch. That's admirable. Reminds me of that one quote you always used to throw around. A lot of people say you can't smoke dope and get drunk when you got kids. And that's not true. You can, but you still gotta get up in the morning. That's being responsible. That's the one. I never understood why it was so hilarious to you. Neither did I. I just accepted the mystery and made it my personal credo. I'm a responsible person. Are you planning to have kids? Not in a million years. By the way, you've got mail. An envelope by the door. It's from Kadir. Inside is a message saying he won't be able to make it tonight, but will rendezvous tomorrow to meet D'Angelo. He wants me to lay low until then and to stay in this apartment if possible. Apparently nobody knows where Tamika is. They only know she's in trouble and he doesn't want me near it. Well, what is it? Got the next lead to investigate. Kadir needs me. That doesn't mean much. I did get the next lead, so... Okay. Did I just commit to go see D'Angelo? I thought he said that would be tomorrow. I'm not sure what I just committed to. Let's find out. Looks like I need to head to town. Next lead. Probably useless, but the investigation continues. It would be fun to spend some more time together, you know? Dakota, you know this is important to me. I know. But I like to know I'm important to you as well. That makes two of us. Just a few more days. I will find a killer, kick his ass, get a promotion, and we'll do something we've never done before. Like what? Good question. I'll think of something. For now, catch up with your work. I need to get going. Fine. Good luck. Stay safe. You know it. This place is weirdly empty tonight. Okay, that's weird because Kadir specifically asked us to stay in tonight, and I don't know if I would have listened to him, but I would have liked the option, or at least a clear option, of listening to him or not. Or at least a text clearly stating that Julia has no intention of staying in. I suppose the option might have been staying in, but that was not well telegraphed. The place is weirdly empty tonight. Oh well, I'll have the usual. I feel there's a big what are we doing in this relationship talk coming if I don't change my ways. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't already happened. But most of the time, Dakota has seemed happy enough just listening to the stories of my own life. Even if it's all boring and normal to me, it's exotic and engrossing to her. Guess I have that going for me. Ah, well. I have no idea what to do tonight, so I'll just do the obvious thing and wing it. These vagabond shoes are longing to stray right through the very heart of it, or however it went. Time to lose myself in these busy streets and pray that the answers I'm looking for are out there. And if they're not, maybe I'll at least find some amusement or blood instead. So we have two choices tonight. Okay, so obviously this new game has gone away from the path of the other one where you have always 3 or 4 options, and most of these options are follow-ups to what you could do the previous night, which led to the problem that I mentioned where eventually the game ends and you missed a lot of stuff. And if you want to see the end of the story, you have to essentially play it over next time. Here it looks like it's more linear in the sense that you can branch off in many different directions, sure, but all of the little vignettes are standalone. So next time you play, you can just choose a different vignette and get a different outcome, but you're not going to have to replay something specific to get to the part you missed, which is, I think, better. Overall, honestly, I think Shadows of New York is an improvement over Coteries, which was already a very good game. There were some flaws, of course, every game do, but I really don't find many flaws to Shadows of New York, honestly. It's pretty damn near perfect as far as I'm concerned in terms of being a vampire game. So what I'm going for here essentially is that we have 2 new options that have nothing to do with anything that came before, which I think is an upgrade, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So we have camera shyness. No, I don't want to be part of your goddamn interview. Look, can I not be bothered for 1 goddamn second? You're not listening. I'm not sure what that is. And the other one is Prince of Cats. I need to resolve this thing with Dakota, as if going around in circles on behalf of the court wasn't stressful enough. Maybe a visit to some quiet neighborhood will help clear my head. Well, having someone trying to interview me seems like a horrible plan for a La Sombra, and this one will help me resolve my relationship issues with Dakota, who is very nice as a person, so I'm thinking that's worth doing. Still, I think I'm going to let chat decide this one. I'm personally thinking about that, but then again, maybe a Masquerade Breach would be fun. Maybe that's what you guys want to see. So how about it, setmates? What do you think? Are we going to look a bit weird in front of a public camera, or we're going to whatever this is? Cats! Okay, Steniel obviously is voting for cats. Not for any roleplay reasons, not for any wisdom-related reasons. She's voting for cats because cats. Or at least that's what I'm getting from her answer. Good enough for me. That said, I'm still going to give chat a few more seconds to... Because there's a lot more people in chat than there were earlier, so I think it's worth giving them a few moments to lock in their choices. And we have the second vote for Prince of Cats. So that pretty much seals it for me. Let's go. Prince of Cats. Here we go. There it is. That distinct vibe of Manhattan residential area. that looks a lot like where the Thin Blood Primogen lived in the previous game. They might have just been reusing the background. I don't know. We'll see. And unmistakable scent of casserole enveloping surrounding. Let me start over. Sorry. An unmistakable scent of casserole enveloping the surroundings in a heavenly aura. The atmosphere of desolation makes it feel more like purgatory, though. There's not a single soul in sight. And crap. Okay, you never have no one in New York. That does not happen. Okay, I'm from Quebec, so may not be the best opinion in the place, but I've spent a couple of days / weeks in New York in my life. I like going there, especially for Broadway. I've never been in a street where there was no one. It's not that big of a city, and there's millions of people in it. There's always someone. Always. Looks like I'm not alone after all. Some guy exerts himself climbing a nearby tree. I instinctively take a step into the shadows to remain outside his line of sight, but I can hardly see anything from where I stand. Stay low, move closer, call him out. But we don't know who it is. We're already being stealth, but we can't see anything. Suppose I could move closer. It sounds like a reasonable mid-ground. Stay low won't help. Call out will scare him. Move closer. I don't know. We need to pick one. Let's go with this one. My inner voyeur is squirming for more details. I move a few steps closer, keeping to the shadows. For a good while, all I can hear is heavy panting. Come on, dude. This oak isn't even that tall. Sure looks like it's the first time the guy ever tried climbing a tree. It takes a long time for the mysterious trespasser to steady his breath and carry on. As soon as he crawls out of the tree's crown, the dim streetlights reveal the face of a young guy in his early 20s. Against the spectacular night sky, and with his exaggeratedly tormented romantic gaze, he truly looks like a hero befitting the cover of a Harlequin paperback. He sizes up one of the longer branches. It seems sturdy enough, and nearly reaches a narrow window on the second floor. Still, the guy is hesitant. All right, no biggie. Just eyes on the prize. He moves a few steps along the branch, his feet slipping every other step on his way to the window. By some inexplicable fluke, he manages to keep his balance. Once he makes it far enough, the branch slowly bends under his weight. He kneels down, probably calculating his chances to make it over to the windowsill. So here's my guess. I think this is the Thin Blood Primogen house, because from the look of it in a previous game, he had a family which I think he kept away from all of this vampire stuff. So maybe this little guy here is going after the son and or daughter or whichever, don't know, of the Thin Blood Primogen. Could be interesting. My guy, if you pull this off, it will be a legit miracle. What? Is somebody there? Ah, shit. Should have been more careful. The trespasser pivots rapidly, startled by the sound of my voice. Just as he notices me, he loses his footing and dives straight into the front yard of the nearest house. Ah, shit! He drops to the ground with a muffled thump. Luckily for him, the lawn hasn't been trimmed for a while, and the tall grass cushions his landing somewhat. As soon as he recovers, the guy gets up and starts limping towards the fence. He tries to climb over, but quickly ends up back on the ground, clutching his leg in pain. He turns to me and starts becking under his nose. Hey, you! Ouch! Shit! Please, I'm hurt! Do me solid and open the gate! Well, with his ankle twisted, he's not going to get out of this mess on his own, and it's not like I'm particularly law-abiding. This is fishy. Leave him. Let the residents know he's here, or Potence, break the gate lock. Do we really need Potence to get a gate open? I mean, look at them. The gates are super low. Can't we just reach out? Don't think it's a thief or anything like that. So I don't think it's that fishy. I mean, in the context of vampire trying to get into someone's house, we're really on the lower end of fishy here. Let the residents know he's here. Probably won't do much of anything. Probably won't give us a new contact or any kind of information. So, gonna take a risk, even though I think Potence is really overkill here. I mean, come on. I control shadows. Let's not try to convince me she couldn't just like control a very, very small tendril. Subtle thing that he would never see just to move a little lock. Eh. So why shouldn't I help him? Just stay where you are. Don't move. Don't know how to. Shut the fuck up. Relax. I got this. In 2 swift, bouncy steps, I reach the front gate. Obviously it's locked, but it's not like that ever stopped me before. Once I'm sure no one can see me, I focus my strength on the gate and pry until the quiet crack announces that the lock has given in. The extraction goes as smoothly as it ever could. I get in quickly, take the guy by his arm, and help him slowly limp out of the front yard. I let go of him a few steps later. He leans against the fence with noticeable relief. Ouch. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. The hell were you doing up there? Well, this is embarrassing. More than falling on your ass like that? He chuckles lightly and looks up at the window. The same one he was trying to reach a few moments ago. This is gonna sound pathetic as hell, but my crush lives in this house. Her shithead father's kinda hates my guts. I don't know why I said fathers plural. So we get together in secret. Because of her folks nagging, she can't seem to make up her mind about us. She explicitly told me not to swing by her house, but you thought it was a good idea to climb up the walls of her keep like a goddamn Prince Charming and break your neck in her front yard? My remark really gets to him. Yeah, but what can I do? Give up on her when, in my heart of hearts, I know she loves me just as much as I love her? It ain't easy being this cheesy. She got you good, huh? That she does. Well, so I can either feed on him, throw a rock at the window, or tell him to confront her father. Well, if her father is who I think he is, that's not a good plan. Throw a rock at the window could get them talking, I suppose. And feeding opportunity, trespasser. That sounds ruthless, but I think at this point, we know we're not that ruthless. So, you know what, chat? Let's put it to a vote again. Since we have a chat, might as well use it. What do you guys think? What do you guys... I say guys, my apologies. Setmates. What do you setmates think is most interesting in this context? Are we going to be playing the romantics, try to get those two together? Are we going to cause all kinds of havoc, getting him to talk to a vampire about, hey, can I date your daughter? Or do we not give a shit and just feed on this guy? Right in the middle of the street, though, that might not be a good plan. I mean, we can see flashes of light regularly. Could be thunder, but it also could be cars going by, so not sure. Havoc! So Stanil votes for Havoc, which is the one I think I mentioned would be tell him to confront her father. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, we have roleplay. We have no reason to think that this has anything to do with the thin blood primogen. So Why the heck not? I mean, essentially, we're telling him to get a grip, get a spine, and do what needs to be done. So, I like it. Nomad says feeding in front of a vampire house might not be a good idea. Yep, agreed. Very much agreed. Okay, so we're definitely all in favor of not feeding for this with this option. So it's either between throw a rock or tell him to confront, and we have one vote for a confront. So unless things change in the chat very soon, I'm going to tell him to confront her father. Going once, going twice, sold. Listen, you look like a big boy. Get your act together and confront her father. What? Like, right now? No, you bozo, fix your leg first. Then rehearse the best damn speech of your life, then talk your way through this. Nope, that's not what it says. Ooh, backing up a little bit. And talk your way through his prejudice. Even if that fails, at least you'll show some guts. Dads like that, you know. Daughters too. Shit, man. I guess you're right. There's no point in delaying the inevitable, is there? He nods at me with gratitude and waves goodbye before limping off to wherever he lives. Even though my hunger entices me, I do not follow. At least my peeping eye scored another victory tonight. What a cute story. Heartwarming. Nostalgic. It's just too bad it's too cliché to steal for my writing. What? You don't write anymore? Yeah. But it's not like you can simply stop thinking like a writer, huh? Gotta use that energy somewhere, somehow. But for now, let's just start heading downtown. All of a sudden, the world ends. Everything stops. I'm lost in the darkness, and there's not even a heartbeat to guide me. It's like sleep paralysis, except it feels as if I suddenly woke up from reality instead of a dream. Instinctively, I react to it the same way I used to react whenever I woke up in the middle of the night. Aware, but not able to move or speak. I just wait for it to pass. But instead of slowly regaining control, I just see a bizarre room emerge from the darkness. Just look at her. Flesh, refusing its fate. It is. It is not the one you were looking for, is it? He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep is silent before the shearers, he did not open his mouth. There is none righteous, not even one. There is none who understands. There is not who seeks, for God all have turned aside. Together they have become useless. If anyone curses his father or mother, he must be put to death. Raging waves of the sea, foaming up their own shame, wandering stars for whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Whenever I become one with the darkness, there's always this nagging fear that it might be impossible to become the normal me again. That instead of the shadows returning to normal, I will let my consciousness be dragged somewhere else, somewhere between the worlds. Did not know that the Sombras had to deal with this kind of shit. That's interesting to me. Huh. Somewhere like this, wherever this is. This is the first time that fear has come true. Are you afraid? It's a bad idea to answer. Don't do it. Yes. Excellent. 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 I think I need to sit in this chair. I think I need to sit in this chair. Sit in this chair, sit in this chair, or sit in this chair. So I think I'm going to pick sit in this chair. I sit in the chair. Still in the lean years, and unworthy of joining the rest. However, the path is opened, and it is a path of obligation, liability, a debt that will be repaid one day. And when she asks you what brought you here, let your response be a scent of death. Suddenly, I feel my mind beginning to drift away from here. I'm slowly starting to regain control over my thoughts. No, you aren't. Yes, I am. Fine. Think whatever you want. I find myself in a dark corner, leaning against a wet, cold brick wall. I think I'm conscious again. Back from whatever it was. Awake, but in an unfamiliar place. Let's just hope it's still in New York City. I emerge from the shadows to see where I am. A source of light above my head momentarily blinds me, causing me to instinctively raise my hand. That was very interesting. I have no idea what happened there, though. In previous lore, there was ties to some umbral realms, essentially. There was some theories that the antediluvian of the Lasombra had somehow merged with the abyss itself. And in the new lore, they changed things a bit in V5, Vampire 5th Edition. They changed things a bit. They've combined some concepts, but as far as I know, haven't actually gone out to explain a lot of the metaphysics behind things. I'm thinking Werewolf 5th Edition will fill a lot of those holes, because werewolves go in the Umbra and into these metaphysical realms all the time. And the Abyss is one of the 13 most well-known realms of the Umbra, essentially. So I don't know where they're going with this. And this is interesting to me because I know a lot about the World of Darkness from reading books. Books spell it out. It's the way the books are made, they're usually explained by an unreliable narrator until we get to parts where it's the Umbra, where you can't really have an unreliable narrator, so it's literally the books telling you how it is. So a lot of the metaphysics, sure, there's some guesswork, yeah, but a lot of it is completely spelled out. So to me, this is very, very interesting and exciting because I'm getting to have a mystery again. I have no idea what just happened to Julia, and I can't explain it with my knowledge of the World of Darkness. Whether that's vampire lore, mage, werewolf, even Mummy. I've read most of Mummy. Not a lot of it, but I did. I read a heck of a lot of Wraith, and none of it explains what I just saw. So V5 is going in new and exciting directions, and I am so there for it. And I love the fact that a lot has been left unsaid for now, which allows us to experience these things not as storytellers reading a book, but to experience these things right the way we're doing now. There's a lot more media about the World of Darkness than there ever was. Before this new slew of games, all we had was Redemption, which is okay, but kind of did whatever they wanted with a lot of the lore, especially the supernatural powers, so it doesn't really count. And Bloodline, which was just goddamn excellent in just about every way. That's all we had back then. So now we're getting a bunch of new visual novels that are of extremely high quality and that care about ambience and lore. So this is pretty fucking cool, is what I'm saying. Tabletop gaming is awesome, yes, but you don't have a visual that comes with that. This is giving us that. This is giving us a window into the World of Darkness that we never could have experienced before this current revival. And I'm so there for it. Let's keep going. As I do, I hit some sort of garbage bag with my hand. It falls to the floor, letting loose a metallic din. The fuck? A woman. I feel her hand grabbing my clothes. She brutally drags me closer. With one of my hands already above my head, I raise the other. Easy. Peace. I mean you no harm. How long have you been here? I don't know. I got no idea what I'm doing here. Or, in general, really. It's like, sometimes the forces I control figure out how to control me. What are you, a junkie? Ugh, no, you're kindred. Yeah. Keep your shit together, dammit. Julia Sawinski, the representative of the La Sombra in New York City. Camarilla? Uh-huh. I'm a Camarilla investigator. Well, if you came here to catch me, you're gonna be sorry you tried, Miss La Sombra. No. Stop right here. I wasn't ordered to catch anybody. I'm just investigating Douglas Callahan's death. That surprises her. She loosens her grip slightly. Callahan's dead. Nothing left but a rotten carcass and a musty robe. Well, I'll be damned. I've been off the grid for too long. What brought you here? A memory from a different world pops up in my head. Yeah, I think I know the right answer. A scent of death. She lets me go. I rub my eyes and finally get a good look at her face. That was one of the things the figures, the weird apparition things said. When you erupt and the weird thing talks to you, answer the question with a scent of death, which she just did. That is a gangrel lady, I think. She's gorgeous. And judging by her nomadic clothes and the particularly fierce aura, she's probably an outlander. Yep, Clan Gangrel. So we have met the other character. Excellent. Okay. Clan Gangrel. We haven't spoken about them yet, so time to do it. Honestly, there's not a lot to be said about the Gangrel clan. They're one of my favorite clans, but they're fairly simple. They are the clan who don't give a fuck about politics and Camarilla or stuff like that. They are the clan who lives in forests away from society. They have a pretty strong sense of honor, most of them, and they're all about being tough and being strong. Not in the same way as they get of Fenris. They don't mind other people who aren't strong or tough, but they themselves are as tough as it gets. And since they tend to live in forests or around city, they are pretty much the perfect bouncers for a city, essentially. They've been used historically a lot in this way. Princes tend to like having them in their city because they're actually not in the city. They're just free security force that just hangs around your city but never really goes inside. Very few gangrel actually will dabble into the politics of a city. Of course, some of them do, because when you're playing them, if you're not gonna go and be involved in politics, then you're not gonna be in the game, are you? So sometimes they do, which explains why they used to be members of the Camarilla. They agreed to be part of the Camarilla as their strike force, essentially, and enforcers and people who protect cities and stuff like that. Which they eventually kind of... they hated doing that. Essentially, they felt used, rightfully so, because that's exactly what was happening to them. So what happened is, in the clan novels, it's a series of 13 novels, one novel per clan, some events happened where a catastrophic fight ended up killing a bunch of gangrel who were trying to defend a city. They essentially got attacked by, long story short, a loser, a person who was a poser, who was trying to make ends meet as a toreador, but he got his hands on the eye of an antediluvian, the eye of Hazinel, if memory serves, and or sorry, not a third, not an antediluvian, a fourth generation. And he just ripped his eye out and put the other eye in there, and suddenly he got really powerful and mad. He just went on a rampage. And most of the vampires in the Camarilla didn't want to even acknowledge the eye existed, or that Leopold was the name of the Toreador, was as dangerous as he was, because they didn't want to acknowledge the existence of Hazinel, of the eye, because it kind of meant acknowledging the existence of the antediluvians. So when the Gangrel showed up in the city to ask for backup, as it happens, the leader of the clan, because so far we were talking about primogens. Primogen is a city-wide position. There are higher positions than city positions in the Camarilla. You have archons, and you have another position above that, who name of that unfortunately doesn't want to come in my brain right now, but that position is essentially the worldwide leader of all the clans. And that person for the clan Gangrel was at the fight. He was one of the few survivors, actually. Most of the other ones were just killed, destroyed. And he made it out alive. So when he went to the rest of the Camarilla saying, we have essentially what is a goddamn antediluvian on our tail, trying to destroy everyone, we need backup. No one wanted to back him up. No one wanted to believe him. Because he had mistakenly assumed what was attacking was an actual antediluvian, because it was so damn powerful. What else could it be? So when he used these terms, the Camarilla was just like, oh wait, no, antediluvians, that's not a thing. That doesn't exist, right? As we've established last time, the Camarilla denies their existence for political reasons. So he got angry and said, well, you know what, fuck you all, and we are no longer members of Camarilla, because we've been here to protect your city, we've been here to help you out, we've been dealing with all the shit while you stay here in your palaces, drink blood and party all night, and we're the ones doing the hard work, so screw you all, we're out. And that was how the Gangrel left the Camarilla. In V5, the Gangrel are in the book. I don't think they're considered. We'll read the text here in a second, which might clarify that for a bit. But I don't think they're considered members of the Camarilla. Now they are independent. We'll see when we read the text if they got back into the Cam, but I really don't think they did. Yeah, so they're very cool. They're nice. They're super strong. Their powers are unique in the sense that they have shape-shifting abilities. They have control over animals, and they have fortitude, which is what makes them tough. They can endure a heck of a lot of damage. And protein, which is the shape-shifting ability I was talking about, is unique to their clan. Nobody else has that, or at least before, nobody else has that. In V5, they decided that anything that had to do with morphing of some sort now is in the purview of protein. As we said, they've merged and reshuffled the powers a little bit, which is fine. So what used to be known as Serpentis, which used to be the ministry's discipline, is now included in protein. So Serpentis were essentially powers completely based around the concept of snake, because the followers of Set are followers of the snake god, essentially. But now it's all merged together. So let's read the text and see if we can learn anything about V5 in there that I forgot. I did read the core book of V5, I just forgot. Clan Gangrel is made up of those who have fallen through the cracks of society. They call the cruelest neighborhoods home, and they consider this a point of pride. Sounds more like a city gangrel thing, but alright. They hold few domains and follow no prince. This clan embraces from the ranks of those who have already spilled blood and had their blood spilled, who have survived the harshest conditions, who have fought against horrible odds, and still came out on top. Prison gang leaders, vagrants, and any other kind who has seen the darkest sides of this world. Occasionally, I'm told, you'll see one who breaks this mold and pursues knowledge or influence instead. Among the gangrel, respect is everything. That's very true. And is always earned, never given. Commonly referred to as wolves, ferals, and outcasts. Or, if you want to piss them off, animals, strays, or savages. Okay, so I don't think they're back in the camp. They're still independent. She's gorgeous. And judging by her nomadic clothes and the particularly fierce aura, she is probably an outlander. We'll have a talk, you and I. Sure. What's your name? Tamika. Pass me a smoke, will you? If only I could. My heart would skip a beat right now. Tamika. I guess once again someone out there led me to the proper path. Yeah, sure. When I pass her a cigarette, I realize I'm standing in something wet. Something that smells tasty. I look at my feet and see a puddle of water mixed with blood. Oh, I get it. Were these guys Firelight? That is a pretty damn cool image. The high-powered guns and expensive-looking outfits, flashbangs, tasers, all chosen specifically to combat the undead. I recognize that equipment from some horror stories I've heard. Firelight, SI, Yusocom, whatever they call themselves, they all bleed out the same, usually before I have the chance to ask them a single question. I don't know what Firelight or USOCOM is, but SI refers to Second Inquisition. As I said, the human world, not in general, but some of the authorities in the human world now are aware of vampires and they are trying to take them out. Government-funded inquisitors. Some claim they're connected to the US government. Some claim they're supported by the anti-kindred faction of the Holy See. Some have even wilder theories. You did this all by yourself? Have you seriously seen nothing? Nothing at all? I shake my head. Believe it or not, I have no idea how I got here. I just kind of let the shadows guide me. Is that a La Sombra thing? I've never actually talked to any of you. No idea what you guys can do, actually. Still learning the ropes myself. Go with the flow and all that. My embrace was just a few months ago. Huh. So you folks are with the Ivory Tower now. Last I checked, you were with the Sabbat. Camies wouldn't forgive all of the trouble you've caused them overnight. Again, I'm practically still a neonate. I just know there's a lot of bad blood between my clan and the others. And that I can expect at least one glare of pure contempt whenever I visit Elysium. Huh, I see. I'm a bit curious with the definition of the Sabbat here. Just see if we can learn anything about V5 or something that wasn't in the core book. An extremist sect that fully enjoys their predatory tendencies and doesn't think highly of mortals, largely believed to be embroiled in bringing about an eschatological vampire-on-vampire conflict known as the Gehenna War. They were driven away from the West over the last few decades. I've heard that New York City used to be Sabbat-controlled until 1999. That's absolutely true, by the way. One of the events in the clan novels I was telling you about is actually how the Camarilla took control back from the Sabbat in New York. One of the later books, essentially most of the books lead to that, essentially, but midway through they successfully get that. It's part of a bigger story, essentially. There's a whole lot of plot threads in the clan book. The big one, of course, being the person who has the eye of Azamel in his face. That's a big thread that needs to be eliminated. But there's also a Sabbat invasion and a retaking of La Sombra. All of this is merged together throughout a very wide cast of character across all of the clans. The Sombra, my clan, used to be the thinkers behind these wackos, but we've since thrown our lot with the Camarilla. We smoke in silence for a short while. So, did you kill them all yourself? Is there a large SI presence in New York, and are you alone? I feel like this is the one that's going to get us closer to her. And again, here the screen is glitching a bit. I don't think the game is doing that. I think it's my rig. I'm playing on my laptop since my tower has been dead for a couple of years now. I will eventually get a new tower. I'm working on getting that. So when I do, obviously, we'll see less of that, and I do apologize. I think I'm going to go with this one. It feels like something she'd open up about a bit easier. The Kindred are classified as a terrorist presence. There's no other American city that was hit as hard by terrorism as this one. All secret agencies need symbolic victories. You do the math. And you're still taking these guys on here, of all places? As you can see all around you. Aren't they extremely dangerous? Almost got me for good last year. Took me a few weeks to get back in action. Then why are you doing this? Those motherfuckers have an unfortunate tendency to hurt people I care about. My brothers, my sisters. I see. I think she's referring to the rest of her clan. There's a thing with the gang rule where if one of them asks for help, they all, well, not the whole clan, but everyone who hears the call will show up and will help. I don't know how it is in other cities, but here, funny enough, they only seem to target marginalized and radicalized kindred, ones that could theoretically pose a threat to the current order. Meanwhile, the establishment in New York City hasn't really changed ever since Calibros stepped down. Calibros was the prince. He was actually forced to take the position of prince in the clan novels I was telling you about. He was a Nosferatu. He did not want the job. It was just pushed down his throat. He had to take it. Quite the opposite. Every SI raid in the city has only strengthened the old paradigm. Almost makes you think that their goal is something other than protecting the citizens from the blank body menace. Tamika throws her cigarette into the puddle, unfinished, and crushes it under her heel. Blank body is a reference to a very old book. Back in the days, there were some books that were not tied to a specific game line. They were just World of Darkness books. And one of them, I don't remember the name right now, was about just mortals, human organizations, normal people, and how they dealt with the supernatural. And in that book, it was referred to, it was mentioned that essentially the government was kind of aware that vampires existed. They just didn't really know what they were. They knew there were people in airports. We always see those in the movies. Like there's a scan. They can see if you're wearing weapons or things like that, and sort of an X-ray type thing. So they saw vampires as blank bodies, so to speak, when they went through that scanner. They were just showing as a white thing with nothing in it. That's essentially because a lot of that is about heat, essentially, and vampires don't have heat, so they didn't show up as having any nuance in their temperatures. There was no red, there was no nothing. There was just, it was white all over, because they're cold, they're dead, they're corpses. So they came to call these people blank bodies. Surprised to see the term come back in this game here, and I really applaud the fact that it's there. Either it's something that was brought back in V5 that I'm not aware of, or these developers know what they're talking about. I think they know what they're talking about. She obviously has difficulty smoking. It's like she's only ever tried it a few times. I assume she saw me carrying a pack and decided to try it to calm her nerves after the battle. Or maybe she just wanted an excuse to make our conversation less awkward. Who knows? So, are you planning to snitch on me, Shadow Girl? And why would I do that? Let me get this straight. You really think I am dumb enough to believe, for 1 second, that a Camarilla investigator would just so happen to stumble upon the alley where I just killed a bunch of SI motherfuckers? If so, you're the one who's dumb, sister. I don't care if you think I'm dumb. I don't care about SI. And I don't care if you believe it was a happy accident I met you, especially considering not even the sheriff knows where you are. But I care about solving the mystery of Callahan's death, and as it happens, you're one of the pieces of the puzzle. What? What are you talking about? I found this on his body. Well, what remained of it. I show her the note. She tries to grab it to read it, but I don't let her. Aside from your name, we've got Hope, Agathon, and D'Angelo. You know them? Passingly. Any idea why Callahan would need a list of all of your names? I might know why. Yeah. Do you? Absolutely. Do you know a man going by the name of Torque? Huh. Of course I do. Do you know about his connection to Boss Callahan, and by proxy to this list and me? No. I'm all ears. Well, too bad, because it's classified intel, sister. What do you mean it's classified? Not free. Oh, great. As if I were in a position to, or could afford any sort of quid pro quo. Fine, let's hear it. What do you want? She motions towards the bodies. I've killed too many of these assholes. They're tightening the screws. As it is, New York City is no longer safe for someone like me. Well, not that it ever was. Aw, man. Bracing for something unreasonable. What I need is a way out of the city. You offer that to me, I give you the intel you need. Huh. Would you look at that? That's something I can handle, actually. Yeah. She raises her eyebrows. That's a surprisingly confident answer for a practically still a neonate. I'm something of an immigration officer. Psh, gotta say you sound awfully close to a cop. Almost as bad, a bureaucrat. I know of a secret pathway that would lead you to the West Coast, 100% safe travel, and if you took it, you'd be untraceable. Sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? Wait until you see how much it costs. The only reason I know of this route is because a certain Nazi, another word for Nosferatu, criminal group reached out to me on account of my position and offered a mutually beneficial deal regarding illegal kindred travel. Normally I'd refuse, but he offered me the only thing that can buy me. A lot of cash. Ah, fine then. Money's not an issue. Now that's something I never had a chance to ever say in here, Nest. Okay then. Okay, so who helps who first? Guess you want me to help you out first? Of course. But would you even accept this kind of deal? Hell no. Right. So we need to think of something that actually benefits both of us. She's lost in her thoughts for a moment, then speaks up. Have you met Talk before? In the course of your investigation or before? I wanted to, but on the Anarch side I only managed to meet Mia, and she wasn't keen on the idea of the two of us meeting. Ah, yes, Mia. Her expression betrays she's got some vicious story to tell, but it would be beneath her to divulge them. Too bad. Maybe it could be a bonding experience. So here's the thing. A few months ago, Talk and I were together. A lot of things happened. A long story short, I no longer feel close to him, but from what I know, he still feels close to me. Back then, I thought there might be something between us. I gave him a ring that has a lot of sentimental value to me, and since these days sentimentality is all that keeps me going, I want it back. So my suggestion is, tell Torque's people I sent you to get inside his base of operations, meet up with him, asking your questions, and convince him to give my ring back. You get to interrogate him, then I get to have my ring back. Then you hear my side of the story, then I get to leave the city with your help. Everybody wins more than once. They will really let me in just because I tell them you sent me? They will. Trust me. It sounds too easy. What caused the two of you to drift apart? Irreconcilable differences in worldview. Well, I assume so, but that's a diplomatic answer. If I'm going to involve myself in the relationship drama of two ex-lovers, I'll need something more to go on. Will you? Yeah. She picks her words carefully. I realized I had become an element of his carefully crafted, projected image. Having me as a radical partner allowed him to present himself as a mediator while paying lip service to revolutionary ideas. A mediator. That's the 21st century for you. Everyone wants to be a middleman these days, and nobody wants to do what's right. You serious? Whenever I hear about Torque from the Insula, they talk about him like he's the second coming of Mao. If he ever seemed that, it's only because from time to time people like me pushed him into doing an uneasy thing. Ever heard of the Southern Wolf and the Northern Fox? Both of them want to eat you for dinner, but only the Southern Wolf makes it immediately obvious. The tricky Northern Fox makes eyes and allows you to pet him before taking a bite. Torque loves to surround himself with Northern Foxes. They talk of compromises. They seem reasonable compared to the opposition, but at the end of the day, they have eyes on the same prize. Power. Hearing this gives me a foreboding feeling, but I can't quite nail down why. Alright? Tell me where to go and I'll tell you where we'll meet later. I'm just chilling at Torque's when suddenly a shrill, loud voice pierces my eardrums. What the hell are you doing here? Oh, yay. It's a pissy lady from Torque's inner circles. Here to see Torque, none of your business. You always this based off. And here to see Torque. Figured as much. Should have gone through his security first. Get out. And what if he tells me to stay? Fat chance. Move your ass before I throw you out. I thought you'd be more open to cooperation after our last talk. Not when you're trying to make deals behind my back, bitch. Mia, it's okay. There he is, walking through the door, one of the most infamous New York City barons. Or, as some people started calling him in a moment, Callahan met his head, the Baron of New York City. Talk, we've talked about this. The situation is a little bit different now. Tamika sent her. What? Bullshit. Wasn't able to track her down for weeks. Well, I did. This is a reason to celebrate, not to get mad. Now, if you allowed the two of us a private conversation... No way. I want to keep an eye on her. Will you keep an eye on the exit? Sorry. You will keep an eye on the exit, and that will be enough. Please. He puts on his best authoritative tone, and it works. No protests this time. Mia leaves the room. When talking to Mia, you mentioned cooperation. First I've heard about it. I tried to make friends with her so that the investigation would go more smoothly. It looks like it wasn't appreciated. I'm sorry about her. She can be overzealous, but usually it's not a bad thing. Yeah, sure. So has she thought you have been trying to reach you for a few nights? I don't think so. Have you? Well, I'm the dumbass the court ordered to investigate Callahan's final death, so considering your connection to the case, I thought it would be prudent for us to talk. Oh, so that's you. Yeah. Now, I know you're probably anxious to hear about Tamika. I'm surprised to hear you two know each other. We actually met through this investigation. Anyway, As I was saying, I know you probably can't wait to hear about her, but I'd like to ask you a few questions first. I understand. Do your job. Did you know Douglas Callahan? Of course I did. We were both barons. Kept having professional obligations to meet each other, but that was it. What was your private opinion of him? Same as everyone else's. A racist clown, mentally stuck in the 18th century who spent too much time keeping the anarchs down. I'm glad he's gone. You mean you're glad he met final death? Well, you know what they say. Hate to see you go, love to watch you leave. Weren't you the first kindred who saw his corpse? I was. But it was his... Yeah, I was. But it was... Again, words are an issue tonight. Let's start over. I was. But it was his ghouls who found him. By the way, we've established that some of them tampered with the crime scene. They were properly disciplined for that. Convenient story. Let's move on. What's your alibi for that night? None. I was running around town the entire night, taking care of various issues. Unrelated to Callahan, but I don't intend to divulge them to someone from the Ivory Tower. So, you have no interest in proving yourself innocent? My official position was made clear. It's the Camarilla who are to blame. It's your job to prove me wrong. Kurwamak, at least for once, can I face a problem that can be solved with pure logic, not politics. Any findings on your side I should know of? Ask Mia. She's the one who handled the murder scene. I'm not privy to all the details. Hope, D'Angelo, Agathon. Any idea who those people are? Can't recall. Sorry. Evidence I found suggests a potential link between Callahan and Tamika. Any clue? I knew both of them well, but as far as I know, they've never met. That's it. Oh well. Not sure what I expected. He's the kind of guy that could only be pushed to talk if I had something concrete to push him with. Time to move on. Well, regarding Tamika, finally. I'll cut straight to the chase. She wanted to inform you she will be skipping town for a while. The SI is hot on her trail and she needs to lose them ASAP. Oh, I've told her countless times, if she's in danger, I will always be there for her. Does she think she can find a secure way out of the city in this situation? She's safe. So you say. She's got some other friends in high places. She'll manage to get out. Gotta admit, that's not what I expected to hear, or what I wanted to hear. Why did she decide to contact me? She wants her ring back. His aura changed in the blink of an eye. Ah, I see now. So that's why she didn't show up herself. Wouldn't even face me when delivering the final insult. Uh-oh. Looks like I stepped on a landmine. She said the ring was a symbol of the trust she put in me. No way in hell I'm going to give it away, not until she gives me the chance to explain myself. I need that ring to get Tamika to talk, but with the way he's acting, it doesn't seem likely he'd be willing to part with it. It might require me to act shitty, but maybe time to change my approach? Be brutally honest or lie through your teeth? What does the chat think? I mean, we could lie, but we don't know a lot. Being brutally honest, I'm not sure is going to work here. So these look like two bad options to me. Chat, if you are still with us, what do you think? Nomad is voting for don't lie. Okay. Okay. Alright. was leaning slightly more towards this one. So this helps me make my mind. Okay. Just gonna give chat a few seconds to give me more, maybe a couple of arguments. Stenel says a bit of brutality never killed anybody. So that's two people going for the brutally honest path. So let's do that. Fuck it. Here we go. Honesty is the best policy. Let's see where that takes us. Listen, you're obviously the hottest new thing in town. People like you. People like you. Sorry, I was just reacting to a smiley in the chat. People like you. People follow you. You're set to be the anarch people think of when they think of New York City. Good for you. But you're obviously way behind when it comes to understanding relationships. Tamika gave it a serious try. She understood her path. She understood yours. She realized they're diametrically opposed. And that's that. You're not going to change her mind by acting like a toxic shithead and forcing her to come grovel at your feet if she wants to get back something that has a great sentimental value to her. We are so dead. You want to earn her thrust again? Don't act like a power-tripping asshole. Show her you're capable of responding to her concerns and that you're capable of being selfless. That's the only thing you can do to change her mind. Sorry. Okay, I'm done. Yes, you are. Ugh. Fuck me in my big mouth. He approaches the door and throws it wide open. Mia! Yes, boss? We're done here. Lead the lady out as quickly as possible. Yes, boss. I have a lot of things I'd say to describe his behavior, but I don't want to cause a diplomatic incident. No need, I'm going. Thank you for your time. Tell her I'll show her she's wrong. Tell her I will prove myself worthy of that ring if it's the last thing I do. Whatever. I let myself be led out of the building by Mia. Another mission failed. Time to meet Tamika and tell her the bad news. I find her already waiting in front of the Jewish Museum. How did it go? Let me put it this way. I'm not surprised you dumped him. So, you did not succeed. Nah. He got mad and started yelling about how he will yet prove himself to be worthy of that gift. Then he ran me out of the building. Is she trying to stop herself from laughing? What's so funny? Nothing. I'll be honest, I kind of expected that. It's just nice to get a definitive confirmation he's still a bit of a toxic asshole. Bit of a toxic asshole. That's all. Well, glad I fell for the oldest trick in the book. Would be cool, for once. A kindred telling me to do one thing didn't mean another thing entirely. Oh, don't be mad. I wanted to be sure of something, and now I am. As far as I'm concerned, you've kept your end of the bargain. It's time to repay the favor. Last year, a certain fledgling appeared in the city and attempted to build a coterie. That list you found on Kamahila, that's the list they've got. Clear reference to the previous game. They contacted each of us, then found themselves in deep shit. S.I., Keza, Sophie Langley, some shadow players manipulating everything from behind the scenes, then this disappeared. Kaiser, that name popping up once again. It can't be a coincidence. No one knows where or why. Doesn't really matter. That happens when you punch way above your weight. Hope they're doing fine, despite all odds. In any case, Talk got involved too. That's how I met him, actually. He got hurt. Didn't want to say how. Claimed it could put anyone who knew in danger. Whatever happened, it gave him the drive and the desire for change. For 2 months, he was a beautiful kindred, plain and simple. But suddenly, something in him snapped overnight. His tone mellowed out. His actions became timid. His language became more befitting of a political science student than a charismatic leader. I assumed he met someone who made him an offer he couldn't refuse, but I had no idea who that was. And then one night, I followed him when he went out, and saw him scheming at the docks with Callahan. When he came back, we had an argument. When he refused to explain himself, I knew I was on my way out. And that was that. I understand. I wish I'd known that earlier. Might have confronted the facts with him and learned something more. He never told me of old kindred. What makes you think he would have told you? She's got a point, I suppose. All right. Thank you. Now it's my turn. Here's your way out. I point at the manhole below our feet. Here's a map of the sewers. Follow the route, then burn it. You'll be looking for a one-eyed Nosferatu wearing tactical gear. Tell him I sent you, then give him the agreed-upon amount of money. What kind of route will I be taking anyway? An armored van full of precious coffins. My man knows how to arrange them to allow for unnoticed extra cargo. Her face darkens. The circulatory system? What did you expect? The rich and powerful always gets the blood they want, one way or another. At least tonight one of their routes will be used for something good. She drops her shoulders in resignation and opens up the manhole cover. Fine, but remember, if it doesn't work, I'll be back at your doorstep with a vengeance if it's the last thing I do. I'm sure it will work out fine. Just beware of a giant albino ghoul alligator while you're down there. Tamika rolls her eyes. Sewer ghoul alligator. For your information, it's just a story New York kindred tell to neonates to mess with them while they're still gullible enough to believe anything they hear about their new world. Well, that makes sense, I suppose. Not true. Nosferatu absolutely ghoul alligators. It's a thing. It's in the clan book. Well, this is a goodbye. In a few months, you'll hear that the Firelight presence in Los Angeles has been decimated. Assume that against all odds, I'm still unalive and kicking. If you keep killing indiscriminately, you might cross the line of no return, you know. Shouldn't you take it easy for a while? Not until my brothers and sisters in blood start being slaughtered. I care about what's left of my humanity, but turning a blind eye on kindred in need would be even less human. So that's the kind of person she is, and probably will be until the very end. It must be comforting in a way to know how your path will end, yet to follow it all the same. I could never do that. Here's some parting advice for you. We might be monsters, but we were lucky enough to be born in a world that's even more monstrous than we are. If we rebel against it, we might still find salvation. If only I could believe it. Didn't expect a preaching tone. Why are you telling me this? Because I think I have a pretty good nose for people's auras, and when I take a look at you, I smell a penchant for ruthless opportunism. It's not much, just a hunch, but you seem prone to giving in to the Camilla's empty promises of safety and petty bourgeois values. Think I should take offense to that? I hope you do. That would reflect on you well. In any case, whatever happens, see you in your next life, Julia. Safe travels, Tamika. I skipped tonight's visit to the church. I really liked Tamika. That was a pretty cool sequence. Not as epic or supernatural or some such as the book one, but wow, Tamika's a badass and she's awesome. Plain and simple. Then again, Gangrel's my jam, so who's surprised here? I'm not in the mood to see Benoit. I'm still embarrassed about yesterday's outburst. And I'm kind of pissed none of the clan elders in Chicago bothered to reply to any of my fucking reports. No advice, no feedback, nothing. I feel like I was left utterly alone. Besides, it's late. I always get back to the apartment early in the morning, right before it gets bright. It's getting risky to be out here so close to sunrise. Accidents can happen. I'll try to get back earlier tomorrow night. Attempt to surprise Dakota. Yeah. I'm back. Yay. How was work? All caught up? I managed to get my deadlines postponed. All our clients are canceling and delaying orders left and right. Oh, does that mean you'll have time to help me with my makeup tomorrow? We'll see. Perfect. Alright, I need to disappear before the sun catches up with me. Hey, yeah? I love you. Oh, an uneasy silence fills the room. I'm not getting out of this one, am I? Nope, I have to. I didn't lie to the Baron of New York City tonight, so I'm not going to lie to her. I know. She flashes a sad, forced smile as I leave to rest. Achievement unlocked. Anarchy in NYC. That was anticlimactic. Wanted a better conversation with her. So this is the one we didn't take, huh? Alright. Let's rest, and we'll be probably calling it a night very soon. As soon as we get back to the screen where we make a choice, that's usually where I stop. So that was nice. Let's see what a new day has in store. I finally reached Big Beat Burger, hoping to recuperate from all the mental damage accumulated over the past few days. Only to find out the doors are locked and nobody is inside. No, 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 I need to be soothed. I need my routine. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. Closed? What the fuck do you mean closed? I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Everything's closed. Pandemic? What pandemic? Do you live under a fucking rock? It's a new SARS virus, straight from China. The whole world is going crazy over it. People are dying left and right. Holy shit. I didn't know something like this could still happen in this day and age. Somehow it always felt like we were beyond it. Sorry. Well, guess it's lucky I'm dead. I walk away to avoid bringing more attention to myself. Now I understand why NYC feels downright apocalyptic tonight. It's like a psychedelic experience to see these familiar streets empty and abandoned. Oh, that explains why they were empty and abandoned the other day. Interesting. Well, let's see what parts of the city are still alive in the middle of a plague. So there it is. So for next time, we can choose an aristocratic taste. All this malaise spreading through the boroughs is putting me in a weird mood. Seems like I can't outrun it. So maybe I'll intensify it instead. Smallpox hospital, here I come. I think that's a feeding opportunity. I should probably take one. We haven't fed in a while. Or a familiar smile. It took just 2 days for the city to go all the last men on Earth. I probably won't have a better chance to soak in the atmosphere. Not sure what this one is about. But that is for next week anyway. We are done for tonight. We did almost an extra hour again. But I prefer stopping on that screen so that I don't cut any of the scenes in half or anything like that. So doing entire nights, I think, is the way I'm going to do this. I target 2 hours, but if not, I still just going to go with finishing a night. Also, I'm glad we got both Hope and Tamika done tonight. My feeling is that tonight we're going to meet D'Angelo, and next night will probably be the end of the game. So most likely, if my guess is right, we'll finish the game next week, which is actually perfect. Because Heart of the Forest comes out couple of days after the next episode, so we'll be able to be done with this game before we move on to Heart of the Forest. Now, as I said, there are 2 endings to this game, Shadow of New York, I mean, so depending on which ending we get, I might be playing it a second time after we're done with Heart of the Forest to get the other ending. We'll see where that happens. Obviously, I would be playing a lot faster because we've seen it already, so I won't have to explain as much as I go. So we'll probably be doing it in 2 or 3 episodes instead of, I think this is the 5th or 6th one. So it should be going a lot faster. Of course, I'll take different choices. We'll like in this screen, for example, we'll choose whichever we haven't chosen the first time. So we'll get to see a lot of new materials anyway. So we'll see how that plays out. So for now, next week we'll see you again, and we will be playing this game again. Let's just look at the chat first. Stanley goes, "Holy shit!" Yeah, I assume that is in reference to the coronavirus that this game just did. Yeah, that is a damn bold move on their parts. Personally, I mean, I understand if people are not okay with it. Absolutely, I get that, and they're right not to be okay with it. Personally, I am okay with it because it's true. It's happening. It's out there. I think that media can acknowledge that, and not saying that they have to. I mean, I keep watching TV shows like The Boys and things like that that are happening essentially right now, and are essentially ignoring the outbreak, and it's fine. It gives us escapism. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. But the world of darkness is a mirror to our own world. On purpose, that's what it is. So I think it makes sense specifically for the world of darkness to show us that, to acknowledge that the virus is out there. Nomad says, "I think it's an interesting idea to see the vampire view of these events / pandemic." I agree. That's that. Yeah, that's that. Honestly, it's a good way of saying what I've been trying to say. It's interesting to see how the supernatural world goes through these events. And I really don't mean to reduce or downplay what anyone has been living through in these troubled times. I hope everyone's safe, and I hope that people watching this haven't been hit too hard by the pandemic. But yeah, I'm actually okay with this. Especially if they don't go too deep into it. I mean, I hope they've been sensitive about it. I don't want anyone to be hurt by playing this game. Let's see where it takes us. Hopefully it stays tasteful. Hopefully. That is something we will see next week. I think both of the next segments of the game actually seem to be dealing with the pandemic in some way. So we'll see how they handle it. Hopefully they're handling it well. Just be aware next week, if you are sensitive to this topic, please next week come in aware that this is going to happen. We will be talking most likely about the coronavirus, or at least the game will be talking about it. It's the game we're playing, so I'm going to go through it. I'm going to read all of the lines. So it's happening. So thank you very much for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I really did. This game is awesome. And next week we will get more of it. Thank you very, very much. Have a good evening, and see you all next week. Sanel says, "They have been tasteful thus far." I agree. Right now, I think they're just acknowledging that it's there, and Julia is reacting the way I think Julia would be reacting. So so far I have absolutely no gripes with them mentioning it. So hopefully it stays that way. So I was just saying, thank you very much for coming, and have a great evening, and see you all next week for potentially, hopefully, the last episode for now. And after that, Werewolf. Looking forward to playing this game with all of you so much. Good week. See you next time.